It is the field report for April 11th, 2015. I decided that I would go ahead and post something regarding the South Carolina shooting. I think it's really, really important because, well, for a couple reasons. Because you got to do your homework before you should ever post an opinion. I found that to be true. One of the mistakes a lot of people do in alternative media as well as other news medias is they make rash judgments just based on headline news. That's why I stopped doing breaking news, because too easily we assume, and we do it all the time, okay, where we might throw out our opinions quickly, and it's not to say we won't do it in the future, but here's the thing. When it comes to something as controversial as this shooting is, you got to really follow everything that's going on, then react and respond. And I'm using this as an example because I think it's really that important. This is not the kind of incident that you make a rash judgment, but from the video, how can you not? And there's a couple things going on with this, that the reaction. As I'm going to comment on the reaction because I think a majority of people, like myself, agree that you do not shoot a man running from a traffic stop 8 times in the back. There is a protocol and a training, regardless of what the police are being taught and trained now in academy, but there has always been the standing protocol that's the last thing you do is shoot to kill. You should fire a warning shot. You should use everything at your access to your disposal regarding police. I think that is how we would want our police to conduct themselves. And there's a lot of police that conduct themselves great. And even in a traffic stop, even in the fact that they could be endangered as well. But here is a separate situation. You got a police officer shoots a guy 8 times in the back at a traffic stop. Now, running away from an officer does not mean you should shoot at an assailant 8 times. This is just that simple. You fire a warning shot, shoot at their feet, disable them from running. That's the one thing. But to shoot a man 8 times in the back, and of course, it was the eighth bullet that. I said that so wrong, sorry. The 8th bullet that actually killed the man. So this man actually suffered. If police were given a badge just to just do justice on a street like this, there would be such disorder. We never want to see our police to go out and just serve justice. That's why you have a court system. That's why you have common law. This is why civilized court systems, or this is why a civilized society has a court system that does the proper judging. I mean, we would want to see that happen. That's why we vote judges who are going to administer the right kind of justice, righteous judgment on anyone who's committing either large crimes to small crimes. But I don't know if that's what we're seeing more of today. We're seeing a lot of lawlessness from the top down. But does that mean in a separate case that a man should be shot? No way. I don't think a lot of people would agree with that either, that a man should get shot 8 times for running at a traffic stop. I think it's common sense. You would hope that there would be other ways to disable a man fleeing a traffic stop, but to shoot and kill him, it's another story. It totally changed the whole direction of this case. So what could have been a traffic stop, let's put it this way, if the police officer had disabled the man, shot his foot from running, I think we'd be dealing with a lot lesser controversy, of course, but that is not the case. So now, there's a lot more involved in this case regarding whether the taser was placed next to the assailant and he handcuffed him to make it look like he was resisting arrest when the man was dead. I mean, it's pretty unfortunate. My reaction, though, and the reason I responded to this and why I wanted to put out a video is that I'm very upset at some of my, even people who I call my peers, who actually do this type of alternative media, and they're very public about their opinions. And unfortunately, one in which, and I want to be careful in how I name people by name, but there's a website that a lot of people watch, and it's Believer Central World Update, and I think Lisa can be right on about a lot of things. But when I heard the reaction and I saw the video regarding the shooting of the South Carolina man, and to be honest with you, it was so, I guess you'd have to make your own opinion. I want to make sure that when people like Lisa or anybody in the media who does alternative media, not the news media, the mainstream media, but people who go on YouTube, a lot of people have a lot of opinions. And unfortunately, you got to research your topic more. You can't just come out with an opinion like that, because it's just going to stir the pot. And I think that's what a lot of people want, to prevent more people to be stirred. Now listen, that doesn't mean people aren't going to be stirred up about something that is tragic as this incident is, but there has to be a level of sensitivity in how you say what you say. If you're an alternative media, you can't just make statements without at least knowing more about the case. And I think sometimes we get in a rush to comment on about a topic when it's easier to say, I don't know much about that topic right now, and if I did, I'd be able to comment more. I think it's a careful assessment that we should all make. I think it's easy. Again, we can make it opinions about topics just based on a headline. Not to say you can't or you cannot, but here's where people get in trouble, and this is where they lose the interest of their either subscribers or et cetera, is that either there's a couple mistakes I've made, and I can admit to this. Sometimes we regurgitate the same topic, but maybe there's an emphasis to that, and maybe I need to point that out. Or, like in this case, I think it's probably more important to focus on where you stand in your walk with the Lord. This is my personal opinion. And how you would go about living your life, moreover watching who's going to have the political opinion today. I think we rely too much on what other people think and say on talk panels and things like that. And while it's good to kind of gather your senses about topics, we don't want to rely just based solely on something that the Saturday morning panel said. I think that if we were in a situation where we were using constructive criticism, I think this is the time to do it. But I guess my reaction is just, I'm pretty upset, and I don't want to ever talk badly about anybody in a very public way. But I think when you are when you insert your opinions publicly, and on something that could be so outrageous, and it throws people off, especially people who are not looking for a fight or argument. You don't just, it's just, this incident itself, and the reaction I saw from that comment feed over Believer Central World Update, I had to say something. I think it's too easy to rush into making opinions. And I think a lot of the comments, these were people that actually did enough homework or followed the story long enough to really make a fair assessment. I think that's what we're supposed to do. I think that a lot of times when you hear the comments, there's people who are much more informed, and always give a lot of respect to the people in any public forum and platform where they know the topic better. That's why you have a discussion, because there may be something I'm missing. So I don't ever want to assess or judge these stories just based on a headline. I usually give it a couple of days. A lot of times you won't see me post something unless I think that, this you can post that. That's where you make your editorial decision to post especially on a news journal, because I think if I were just following breaking news every day, I wouldn't have a life. I mean, it's the truth of it. Really, it's not no joke. So I don't follow the breaking news, also because it's too early to assess and make an opinion about a lot of topics. So I got to the point where I've carefully picked these topics out. Some things I just find interesting and I post it. I'm not trying to persuade people. I just think sometimes I find a lot of interesting things, and some of it is mostly spiritual. And it's interesting because if you gather enough information, you can be more informed on any topic, whether it be on a religious topic or a topic regarding Jesus, or apocalyptic news, things like that. I'm just gathering the news. You yourself can make your own opinion. That's the great thing, is you're free to judge that for yourself. If you're using proper judgment, you're going to come out with probably the common sense approach, I would hope. And I'm assuming from what I'm seeing, I've seen a lot of good common sense comments from that feed over at Believer Central regarding the South Carolina shooting. What I think a lot of times is when you have a media platform like that, you got to be very careful how you go about talking on a topic like that. First of all, you have to know the topic. I would not throw out my personal opinions until I know the topic better, especially something like this. And that is where I stand on a lot of things. I think you got to judge these things carefully because of the nature of a topic like that. You can't laugh off something like this. That's why we are mature we should be mature enough to know this, that you just can't laugh off certain things. This is too serious of a topic to laugh off easily. Now, there are sometimes you have to laugh off things. There's a time and a place for that. And I think if you're mature enough to know the difference, that's when you make a comment. But sometimes I laugh off things not in realizing I might be coming off insensitive. So again, that's where you got to be very careful. And I think we can all make that mistake. And in all fairness, and I think a lot of people want to give people a fair amount of an opportunity to be fair in their assessment. So that's why we should always calculate our comments. And I just had to make the point to say that because I saw the reaction on that feed at the YouTube channel, and I thought it's important that I say something, because even if I'm not as available to my subscribers, I try not to make myself too visible. Obviously, but the generic video I can't do anything about because I just don't have the setup. But I have to, in a way, address it because there's a point where you should address these things. Now, to go about this every day, I just don't have it in me to do it. But you don't have to go to journalism school to know this. I think that people think that because they have a degree or a letter behind their name that qualifies them, maybe. But I think that we want to see more people with that common sense and be able to use it in its proper context. And when you look at the content and information, you do your homework, and you can make an intelligible, rational opinion on a topic, then that's what we need to encourage. But when people just say things because the headline news, they just read off the script, basically. That's why we're supposed to do a little of our own homework and follow these reports and read the articles. And to do otherwise would be, it just makes us look dumb. So we want to really be careful how we go about saying what we say. I think there is a point where we should be cautious in how we say what we say. But sometimes I think things just slip out, it's the way it is. All right, well, that's just my response to the South Carolina shooting. I just hope that when justice is really served, not going out and serving it on the streets, I hope that the right people get their day in court for good reason. God bless you.